Flight boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Taurus Moon. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucker responsibilities. And right now, we're going to talk about the daily planetary alignment. That's what's going to be going on for today. Where the moon at? Today the moon is 11 degrees. So I say you're going to be feeling emotional responses from this aspect for maybe the next day and a half. You know what I'm saying? To 2 days. Probably listen next day and a half, you know, and then all the other energies is gonna, you know, but the moon is what kind of, and this is the reason why the moons move so fast, but the planetary size of it is still equal to a lot of other things. It's because, you know, moods change, motions change, emotions change rapidly. So the moon moves fast. The moon is like the anchor of everything, and we know, if you listen to my regular videos, you know that the moon is the cause, and your actions is the effect from the cause. Then once your actions become the effect, it becomes someone else's cause. You see what I'm saying? And then this, that, and third. But that's another video. But right now we're going to talk about what do Gaia, aka Torah, want you to do, and how she wants you to pertain your actions regardless of your sun sign, how she wants you to pertain your emotional response in the world you live in regardless of your moon sign, the way she wants you to communicate, think, and analyze about things regardless of your Mercury, the way she wants you to love, appreciate, value, and relate to others regardless of your Venus, the way she wants you to act on your willpower, your intentions, your desires, and your passions, regardless of your Mars. The way she wants you to activate the experiences in your life, and how to actually retrieve the experiences and gain wisdom and knowledge out of them. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of your Jupiter sign. And how you're going to gain stability and structure in your life. You know what I'm saying? And how you should gain stability in your life right now, regardless of your Saturn. So let's get into it. Now, starting off with the sun. Now look, the sun right now is in Taurus, 4 degrees Taurus to be exact. Now right now it's just sliding out of the cusp. It's 2 days out of the cusp, because anybody who are matter of fact, happy birthday to all Tauruses right now. But anybody who was in 2 degrees and 2 degrees Taurus, you were a cusp, so you're not actually a Taurus. You're actually a See, I gotta make a video, and I gotta create the signs around the cusp elements, because I already got it. I got what they are. I just have to draw it out for y'all can understand it, and I start aligning it with the ram and the bull, and you know what I'm saying, the twins, and you know what I'm saying, the crab, and you can start, and with these cusp elements that I create, it's like the steam. If you was a lava, if you was a 2 degrees Taurus 2 days ago, 2 days ago was your birthday, you are a lava element. You know what I'm saying? So with that right there being said, with the we're sliding up out of that right now. So any misunderstandings or misconfusions that you being a cusp may have had, and the energies that you may have been aligning yourself with the previous sign, which was Aries, into the sign now it's time for that to cut that aside. And now our actions and the way we act are predicated towards stability right now, fixated. Because look, the sun just left out of Aries. So that's when Gaia wanted your actions and the way you act to be predicated towards initiating and creating new ways of how to see things and how to feel things amongst the circumstances and the surroundings that you in. See, now right now, after your actions was predicated towards that, Gaia wants you to predicate your actions on taking these new initiative thoughts that you didn't seen, new ways of seeing things and new ways of feeling about things. Now it's time to will that into an existence. And to will anything into an existence is going to take time and experience. And who's the masters at time and experience when it comes to this 3D realm of reality? Fixed signs. Because fixed signs can stay fixated on something until they either perfect it, get tired of it, wore out from it, or be able to receive the fruits and labor from it. So they know how to take time, and they're good with patience. So all fixed signs show their patience and their stubbornness and their conviction in different ways. Right now, Gaia wants you to do it in an earth way. So we're taking from the previous sign, and now your actions is predicated towards on making sense out of these new concepts you didn't seen or you didn't felt coming from the sun being in Aries. Now it's time to take action on willing it in, and taking time and making sense out of these things. And what's the practical sense, and what's the what makes sense and what's stable and what kind of foundation or actions I could take towards these things to make these to take these things that I seen and felt and make it a reality. See what I'm saying? So right now, guy, I want you to take time. Take time, and Taurus is ruled by Venus, which is love, appreciation, and value, and relating, and appreciation and pleasures. So right here, it even wants you to see this in a certain way. See what you value. See what you have. You see what you appreciate. Work on your self-esteem. Work on your inner self, and come to a practical conclusion on what's the common sense and most sensible way to do something. See what I'm saying? Because when the sun was in Aries, people's actions was being inspirational, inspiring, and it was all good to be spiritual in your spirituality and to go off on spontaneous moments and to act off on your expressions and stuff. But now that's not going to make sense. Now you have to make sense out of that energy. And if you're still in that energy of trying to express that, you're going to fall short because the sun is no longer in Aries. So, you know, right now the sun wants you, everything that the energy was, right now I want you to stabilize that, make sense out of it, and take time and make sense out of what you've seen and what you felt, so you can mold it, shape it. Keywords: earth, mold, shape. You need something earth-like to be able for it to be molded or shaped, and that's what Taurus is wanting you to do right now. So right now is more about slowing down, observing, seeing, building, creating a foundation for yourself to fall back on when things may not be as stable as they should be. But now is not the time to think about the fun. Now it's time to think about getting that rectified, so you don't have no inabilities when you actually do go have fun. Now, let's go into the moon. Now, right now, the moon is in Aries. So, a lot of times, and it's for everybody, you're gonna feel the effects from the sun still being in, from the sun being in Aries, because everybody's actions was predicated on acting on what they desire and seeing things and feeling about things. But now this is what's actually making you comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So the best way possible, when you align yourself with trying to emotionally connect with creating new ways of how to see and feel about things, this is what Gaia wants you to do emotionally. She don't want you to put this into action. She wants you to see this on the inside and absorb it and understand it for what it is. Because if you have a moon in Libra right now, or if you have a moon in Cancer, or a moon in Capricorn, then you may not, the way your emotional response is might not be relatable to the people who are around you. And this is the way the energies work. You got your planetary alignment. Whoever you're around got their planetary alignment. Then you're under the planetary alignment. If you can have the same planetary alignment with a person next to you, both of y'all moons could be in the same place. If today's moon is in a place that's squaring or opposing, then the way you're gonna feel about the person who got the same moon as you is gonna be the same way. It doesn't matter until y'all have that open dialogue to express to each other, oh, I feel like that today too. I feel like that way today too. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if, say you and your friend moon is in Libra and today moon is in Aries, right? You're going to step outside looking at your friend, your fellow friend who got a moon in Libra. You're going to look at them a little bit uncomfortable. Like, is this person trying to be selfish today? Or is this person trying to do their own thing today? Or this person don't want to be bothered today? Or this person trying to be private and do they, you know what I'm saying, do some stuff. And until you have the open dialogue with them, and this is what happens. If you do have the same moon as your friend, then 9 times out of 10, y'all going to end up having that open dialogue anyway. Because y'all going to attract each other around each other, and something's going to happen when you have that. Your response is going to end up expressing themselves in the same way. 1 second. Now, as far as emotionally, your emotional response, It wants you to be a leader right now. As far as your emotions, it don't want you to be letting other people the way they see things and the way how they feel about things. Right now, Gaia don't want you to be affected by other people's ways of seeing and feeling about things emotionally on the inside. Not anyone can give you ideas pertaining to your actions, but when it comes to how you feel about things and your emotional response and how you react to certain things, it wants you to react by initiating and creating a new way of how to see and feel about the circumstances you in. So a lot of times when other people are, you're gonna get a lot of people trying to manipulate situations around you, and that's when you have to, your emotional response and how to get emotionally connected right now is not taking or not see or not, I'm not gonna say being disgruntled or opposing, but just having your own foundation and creating your own foundation of how you see or feel about a situation. Not going by how other people see or feel about that situation, or not having a stubborn way of how you may feel or see that situation, but initiating a new way or creating a new way of seeing and feeling about that situation, and then dealing with the emotional response. Your emotional response, how you react to things. So for people who still may not understand, let me break it down into situational terms. If you around somebody, right, and y'all watching, say y'all watching Bill O'Reilly's scandal, right, and y'all see that he's fired from Fox News and stuff, right? Yeah. Now say this. Now, say your friend got one perspective, you got one perspective of the situation, right? And say it's a group of people. Say y'all all at work, y'all all having dialogue on sports and Bill O'Reilly and shit, right? Now, say naturally you are a person who's very relatable, very know how to conversate with people, know how to set aside your own emotional stance for the sake of the conversation, and not like you know how to manipulate conversation. So you may be like, you may have a lot of air in your chart, or a lot of earth in your chart to a certain degree. Now, when it comes to now, by the moon being in Aries, right? Now, everyone's going to have an emotional stance on Bill O'Reilly and the situation he in. Now, say this person has an emotional response about it, and this person have an emotional response about it. Now, in this situation, you're in Gaia with Taurus. Now, this is an example. Taurus don't want you to have a stubborn way of seeing and feeling about the situation. So it's not saying that have a conviction or have your own stubborn way of thinking about Bill O'Reilly, right? So don't want you to do that, because when you do that, you're going to find yourself on the opposite end of conversations or whatever situation. Also, Gaia don't want you to be mutable with your emotional response. It don't want you to be too relatable or too absorbed in someone else's outlook to the point that you're overly agreeing, because when you do that, it's going to become a situation where people are going to want to disagree with you just because you're over agreeing. Like, you ever was in a situation where you totally with someone and the person you with, it became a distaste to them. They was like, dude, you laughing at all my jokes and my jokes ain't I know that personally, I know that joke wasn't funny, so since you laugh, you ever been around something like that? So boom. So it don't want you to do that right now, because you're going to put yourself in circumstances like that. What it wants you to do is add to the dialogue with a new way of feeling about it and a new way of seeing it. And it may open up debate. It may open up opposition. But as long as you know how to communicate effectively, it could be a friendly debate, a friendly discussion, or a friendly conversation. You know what I'm saying? But anytime you initiate and create, anytime there's a cardinal sign involved, there can lead to friction. Because anytime someone's trying to initiate and create a new way of trying to see something, 9 times out of 10 is trying to budge the fixed, or it's trying to convince the mutable. You see what I'm saying? When mutable like to see broad perspective, they like to see everybody's point of view and then come to a broad perspective of how they see it. Fixed like to only have their own point of view, and it's going to be hard to budge them from that. Cardinal always trying to initiate a point of view and create a new point of view without necessarily being fixed in one, or without necessarily trying to understand other people's point of views. So you see how modalities can clash. You see how each sign, it doesn't matter if you're the same element as somebody else. Modalities, you're still going to run into oppositions and crashes with each other. Every sign is different. Every sign is different. And it don't matter what they share. They all different. Because if you want to break it down, every sign shares something with each other. Like, just because Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn share Earth with each other, they don't share modalities. Shit, Taurus share the fixed modality with Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, and what's the other fixed one? Yeah, in itself. Boom. So it shared the fixed qualities with those three, with Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, and Taurus. It shared fixed with those. You see what I'm saying? But on the flip side, Taurus shares Venus with Libra. You see what I'm saying? It shares with Libra. And then on the flip side, it shares part of the moon with Cancer, because the moon is exalted in Taurus. So you see, you can break this down with each sign. Every sign is different, but they all share similarities, and they all share differences. So it really doesn't matter what element you share with somebody. Don't think just because you are Aquarius and you meet a Libra that y'all gonna automatically get along. And no, it doesn't work that way. It's just you may see things the same way, but the way you see it is entirely different ways. Y'all, like, for an example, y'all may both be into the same thing, but the way y'all see that thing is in entirely two different ways. So, you know, not to get off subject, but getting back to the moon being in Aries right now, it wants your emotional response and your emotional reaction to things to be initiative. So that to be leader-like, and anytime you do that, it may open the floor for debate, but it's always going to open the floor for a give and receive match too. It could be a tug of war, but it could be a give and receive match where everyone is adding on to their ideas to come to a broad conclusion, other than everyone adding their ideas and coming to a heated debate. You see what I'm saying? And Mercury is also in Aries right now, also, so that can speed conversations up and speed from point A to point Z up. And when I say from point A to point Z, I mean, like, say you get into a situation with a person. That's point A. We know point Z is the end result. I'm the type of person, and I am an Aries. I don't like to go through the B, C, D, E, F, G. To me, that's like when something happens, going through the E, the B, C, D, that's like, okay, I'm going to end up seeing this person somewhere. Then this end up happening, then this happening. Like these are train of events. No, I like to see the end result. Either someone going to die or go to jail. Let's go straight to that situation. So when point A happened, let's go straight to point Z. And if point Z don't be about shit, then nigga, you go your motherfucking way, and I go my motherfucking way. But the initial response is always going to go straight to Z with me. You see what I'm saying? And that's where we're going to know who deep or not, and who down to the depth or whatever situation we motherfucking in. But that's another story. So what I'm talking about right now with Mercury and Aries, that's giving you a little bit of concept of how people are analyzing, communicating, and thinking right now. So how people are thinking and communicating is very rapid, very fast, but it may not be well thought out, because we know fire is a right brain sign. It's a yang, so it's going to be expressive, but it's a right brain yang. So it's expressing the inside. Just like the right brain signs, the right brain elements are water and... You got yin and yang. Yang is fire, air. Yin is earth, water. Boom. And we know the yang part of the brain is the left, the yin part of the brain is the right. But then you have a yin yang for the right brain and yin yang for the left brain. The yin yang for the left brain, you have the air being let's start with the right brain, because I wanted to get into Mercury being in the right brain. You know what I'm saying? Yang, fire. You know what I'm saying? Yin, water. And these are both right brain elements. The left brain elements are earth, air. But talking about the right brain right now, we know yang is expressive, outer. We know yin is inner, inward, introvert. So what happens here is we have the two fillers. Fire is the filler and the seer. Water is the filler and emotions. So fire is going to feel and express and visualize. Water is going to feel and soak and emotionalize. So what happens here is when you have Mercury in Aries, right here, Mercury, the way Mercury is your thinking, communicating, and analyzing. And so right now, the way you think, communicating, and analyzing, you're thinking about feelings. You're catching feelings now, right? And then you feel like you have to express them. So now you express it through your communication. So a lot of times your communication, the way you think, a lot of times may be foreshadowing what you actually need to be communicating and thinking. For an example, you may be jumping the gun. You may jump into conversations. You may see things and feel certain ways about the conversation before actually assessing what is the situation or the conversation you having. So you start to do things first, jump the bridge, jump the gun, and then do that with a lot of thinking and the way you think about things. You may pay a bill too fast and pay too much to the point that you overpaid, or you know what I'm saying, a lot of things without looking at the details and things of that nature. So Mercury doesn't do that well in Aries, but for the most part, it's giving you a sense of insight, enlightenment, be leader in your way of communicating and thinking. So Gaia actually wants you to be initiated and creative when it comes to the communication. So expressing how you see and how you feel about things in a very communicative way, you know what I'm saying, is what Gaia wants you to do right now. And it doesn't want you to be in situations where you're acting these things that you're thinking about, because the way you have to act on these things in a practical way, because we know the sun is still in Taurus. So it wants you to act on these inspirations in a practical way, which makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And then the moon wants your emotional response to still be initiating and creating new ways of how to feel and see the circumstances that you in, and the response, so people could know your stance on things, and people don't have to be blindsided or confused on where you stand on certain things. Because you know the moon in Aries is very simple. Each planet works differently in every sign. Aries does a lot better in the sun than it does in the moon. You know what I'm saying? So it can be a little shaky at times, but at the same times, the emotional response like things to be simple and not over manipulative or over dark, because the moon in Aries right now likes to see things for what it is. So it's going to be able to see manipulation. You're going to be able to see the manipulation in your life, but for you to act on it, it'd be wrong. You have to do something that makes sense, something that's practical. If it's a person in your life, don't do something tit for tat or some fire with fire. Do something practical, like X this person out your life, or don't answer the phone, or put yourself in situations like that. Now when we get to Venus, Venus is at Pisces. Now, Venus loves being in Pisces because Venus is exalted in Pisces. So what happens here is you're going to be able to love, appreciate, and value. Well, not be able to, but what Gaia wants you to do. Gaia wants you to love, appreciate, value, and relate to everyone's emotions and feelings about things. So this is going to help balance out. It's going to cause a little friction because you may have to learn how to actually do this due to the fact that the moon and the Mercury is in Aries, and wants you to initiate and create new ways of how to see and how to feel about circumstances when it comes to communication, and about circumstances when it comes to emotional response and reactions of who you are. But at the same time, this is going to balance it out a little bit, because it still wants you to love and appreciate and value and relate to other people's emotional stance on things, other people's feelings on things. So as long as you are appreciating the way someone else's emotional stance on things or someone else's feelings, then the Aries being in the moon and Mercury, you playing that role out is not going to put you at a detriment. Because the moon in Aries right now, a lot of times, is going to make you feel like, well, fuck everybody else's emotions and feelings right now. It's about me, how I see things. So it's going to make you feel like that, but the way Gaia wants you to work it out is initiating and creating new ways of how to see and feel about the circumstance that just made you feel like that. But